Tops on Reds, Black White Warriors. Gallagher currently up a game. We'll take a look at the board state here as he's attacking with a lot of creatures. Siege Rhino's going to do some blocking here on Shambling Vent. We've also got some Manifest creatures coming into the red zone here. Looks like Soulfire Grandmaster doesn't have a lot of interest in blocking. And I believe Thompson right now does have a morph on the battlefield. So if that is a morph, we will get a morph counter on there for our viewers at home. And now we head back Gerry's way. The Grandmaster, and it looks like a morph are coming into the red zone. And now another Siege Rhino. So these life totals will change quite a bit here as Thompson's gained at least 5 life already. Gallagher going to fall a little bit lower. We're going to head back Paul's way. It does make you wonder what these manifests are here for Paul.
Yep.
It looks like he may have flooded out a touch this game.
It looks like the game's also been going on for a very long time.
Very true, very true.
I mean, certainly more lands than he needs to operate.
It's a Bloodshed Rager.
And this is a problem that deck like Black White Warriors have. When you're a Tarka Red, you at least have the hope of being able to execute some sort of combo. When the game slows down like this for some of the other creature decks of the format, there's just not a whole lot that can be done.
Den Protector going to get back Kolagon's command. Looks like he might be taking a trip to Value Town. There's a Bloodstained Mire for Thompson. I'll sacrifice his Bloodstained Mire. Be searching up a land here. We'll see which one in just a moment. I'll go with a Smoldering Marsh. Graphic. Okay. Here comes Den Protector. And we will have those life totals and things updated for you guys at home in just a moment. Looks like Paul wants to take a look at Kolagon's command just to make sure he knows what it does, because that's in Gerry's hand right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, all of Gerry's cards are Asian, so I don't know how much. I believe they're all some mixture of Japanese and Korean and Chinese and so forth. So
those are his favorites. Borrowing a deck from him for tournaments can be a little difficult at times.
Yes.
But it looks like he's got a pretty good grip on this game right now. And you just saw him reorganize his mana too, because we could be going Soulfire Grandmaster in combination with Kolagon's command here in just a moment.
Yeah. It's also got a Shambling Vent back on D to block with. Should that come up?
Yep. So this might be Paul's best way to go about winning this game as a Bloodshed Rager, but it's unclear if this thing's even going to be able to live for a while. And there's a Mardu Strike Leader. But it appears as though just some of these cards are a little late to the party. And with Paul, it looks like no cards in hand right now. And if that's the case, the Soulfire Grandmaster gets to run rampant here.
Yeah. Again, once a deck like Black White gets to this spot, there's just not really a way out.
Strike Leader appears to have been dashed this turn. You see Paul doing some math here to see if he can get anything through. And Gerry says, before attacks, I'm going to activate my Soulfire Grandmaster. And now it's going to be Murderous Cut, actually. Which is even worse news here for Paul, because he can play Murderous Cut twice in a turn. And he will. Strike Leader down, too.
You referred to the Value Town before?
Yeah, I did. I did. That's where we are.
Yeah. Okay.
Paul's best 2 creatures down. And with what Gerry's got on the battlefield, no good attacks.
And 2 best creatures is not really high praise.
Yes.
Given the assortment of bozos left over.
Gerry does have a copy of Ob Nixilis in hand. He might be going that route now. So there is the Planeswalker. And now there's Windswept Heath. And there is a basic Plains. I know that Obzon aggro has been very popular recently. We saw Hunter Nance have a blue splash. Second place in Philadelphia there. Now we see Thompson with the red splash. This is going to draw a card with Ob Nixilis at the cost of a life. And again, not much of a rush. Prairie Stream the draw. Gerry says, in your draw step, I'll play Kolaghan's Command, take care of your manifest, and make you discard your card.
Some inside the draw step discard action.
Don't see it a lot anymore.
It's a rarity.
Yep. And at this point, I think Paul, he's going to concede the game because he knows there's no coming back here.
No.
So, Gerry Thompson going to tie things up here against Paul Gallagher. Obzon red, black-white Warriors getting ready here for game number 3. I like the uptick in black-white Warriors. You know, it's a deck that gets to play one of my favorite cards in the format in Bloodsoaked Champion.
Yep.
I've just always felt that card's really good.
Yep.
Just not much of a home for it, and this looks to be, at least for right now, the best home for that card.
Yeah, I mean, I have run into some red-black aggro lists and some Mardu aggro lists online lately, and those decks are, of course, playing a lot of Bloodsoaked Champions, but I think Black-White Warriors has the best results of any of the Bloodsoaked Champion decks.
Well, here for Gallagher, it's a Rush of Battle, 2 Master of the Unseen, 2 Ultimate Prize, 2 Secure the Ways, 2 Duress, a Surge of Righteousness, a Dispel, a Valor Stance, and 3 Disdainful Strokes.
He's got to get his hands on some removal here because once the game comes down, he doesn't have a lot to really push through the last couple of points of damage. So I like bringing in the counter spells here. The Master of the Unseen can be good if the game goes on for a long time. And I think he needs another copy of Valorous Stance in the deck just to have more answers to Siege Rhino.
On the other side of things here for Thompson, 3 Irrational Clerics, 2 Radiant Flames, 3 copies of Hallowed Moonlight. He does not want to lose to Rally this weekend. A Duress and Ob Nixilis Reignited that we saw in that second game, Dark Petition, Virulent Plague, Utter End, Reap the Bones, and an Infinite Obliteration.
I think it's going to be pretty light sideboarding here. I like having the extra copy of Utter End just as more removal of the Ob Nixilis. We saw 2 copies of Radiant Flames. That's a big game in this matchup. A Radiant Flames for 3 is not something that Gallagher can handle all that easily, but I don't think Thompson's going to be changing all that much.
Well, there are the options there for both players. Paul Gallagher going to be on the play here for game number 3 with his Black-White Warriors deck, the deck that we are certainly seeing an uptick in. So we'll find out how he's able to do here. In the meantime, we are going to talk about the Star City Games newsletter. It is your source for Magic the Gathering news. You can get the latest on the Open Series and a whole bunch more for free.
A lot of great information. The latest information on the Open Series with the selected match of the week for you to go back and watch. Exclusive deck lists and advice from many of Star City Games columnists. An exclusive cardboard cracked comic. And best of all, signing up is free over at starcitygames.com/newsletter.
Sometimes you'll find Gerry Thompson in there, Ross Merriam, Tom Ross. Some other selected and featured Star City Games writers you'll find in that newsletter. And now we get ready to watch game number 3 here between Gallagher and Thompson. About 11 minutes left to play as Gallagher going to finish sideboarding up. Thompson getting ready for another invitational here next weekend. You have to imagine he's going to be pretty well prepared. Constructed formats, when they do settle out like this, there's some metagame to be done. This is kind of his specialty.
Yes. Thompson does really like the deck that he's playing this weekend. He's been working on various 4 and 5 colors, sometimes with Bring to Light, sometimes not, decks for a while, but this is the one that he's told me that he's the happiest with so far in his efforts to develop these decks in Standard.
Well, he's rarely lacking confidence, that's for sure, and the results certainly do back that up. When he is well prepared, he is a heck of a player to try to beat. 31 years old from Elk River, Minnesota is Gerry Thompson. 6 invitational top 8s with 2 wins, 18 Open Series top 8s with 5 Ws, a Pro Tour top 8 at Pro Tour Gate Crash in 2013, and 9 Grand Prix top 8s with 2 wins, and the only player in Open Series history to go back-to-back on the same weekend, back when we had it formatted that way.
Yeah, some people got close, but no one else besides Thompson was ever able to do it.
And it is true that Jason Ford, his friend and former Grand Prix top 8 competitor, holds the rights to name his firstborn child, assuming there is one on the way.
I'm going to bet that Gerry sold low on the naming rights.
Oh, you think so?
I don't know the story, but that's my guess.
I think he could have gotten a better rate, as it were.
I just feel like he sold low.
Well, game 3 going to be underway here from Gerry. I know Abzan's something he likes to do, and just likes to play black-green decks. You know, in Modern, he's been playing Jund recently. Abzan, stuff like that. Because these black-green decks in Abzan, they've got good card drawing now.
Yeah.
That's the big thing. It comes at a cost of life in Abzan Charm, Painful Truth, Read the Bones, but they can draw cards.
Yeah, you can, if you want to build a non-blue deck to hang around with blue control decks in terms of card advantage and late game punch, you can definitely do that. With Painful Truths, Den Protector, Abzan Charm, the tools exist if you want to go down that road.
Let's see where Paul wants to start things off. He's got a Plains. He's got a Mardu Woe Reaper. For Thompson, it's just a Cinderglade. He'll pass the turn back. It's a Master of the Unseen and an attack here for 2. One thing you can tell already, though, 2 basic planes.
Not a good sign.
Not great.
Can still fetch for a battle land.
Very true. Thompson's going to play an Arashan Cleric, gain 3 life, search for a basic planes. Might be time for a Silk Wrap. It appears that's the case. Black Mana's the bottleneck right now for Paul. He's able to come across here for 2, but it's going to bring Gerry back down to 18.
And I don't think Gallagher has black mana or a third land. Yep. And if Thompson's got a hand here, Gallagher's in a lot of trouble.
Duress. Show you a Silk Wrap, a Chief of the Edge, a Bloodsoaked Champion, and a Mardu Strike Leader. Now here's a Soulfire Grandmaster. And we're going to head back Gallagher's way now. Can he find more mana? Chief of the Edge says the answer is no.
And now we're in the danger zone of, even if he draws black mana next turn, the game might have already gotten away from him.
Might be a little too late. You see the Woe Reaper's going to hang back on defense now.
With no removal spell in hand, I think that Thompson right now has a Fiery Impulse he's casting. If he's willing to do that now, it probably means he has another removal spell he can start rebuying with Soulfire Grandmaster. And Gallagher's hand, even if he draws black mana, doesn't permit him to do anything other than put one creature into play a turn. It's not good against Soulfire Grandmaster and a lot of mana.
Well, there's a Prairie Stream. That's not even black mana. It is a third land. Gets you closer to Master of the Unseen. That's about it. Thompson going to sacrifice Wooded Foothills on the upkeep. Get a land out of his deck. It'll be a Smoldering Marsh. It's funny, someone who might have the most experience with these fetch land, battle land mana bases is Gerry, given that first week of this new format where he played that 5-color Bring to Light deck where you had to get it right that weekend.
Yeah.
Grandmaster going to come across yet again. For Abzan Red, maybe a little bit easier, as there's a Swamp finally for Gallagher. But you said it a little bit early, it might be a little too late now.
We'll have to see what Thompson's hand is like, but if Thompson can loop a removal spell here, Master of the Unseen's worth very little. The creatures in hand are worth very little.
There's a Swamp attack for 2. There's a Master of the Unseen activation. And before it blocks, I think Gerry's going to have a spell to play. He'll sacrifice this Bloodstained Mire. Going to get a land out of his deck. We'll see which one it'll be. And it looks like it'll be another copy of Smoldering Marsh. Somebody's got some interest in quite a bit of red mana here. And this was the fear. It's Murderous Cut. It's not Fiery Impulse, I guess, but still pretty bad news.
It's still, yeah, it still makes it hard for Gallagher next turn to try to run the same playback.
Now we head back Paul's way. He'll draw a card. What he needs to do is be able to get to enough mana where he can play multiple spells in one turn. Or something like a Gideon, which provides a creature and something that's left behind.
Yeah, Gideon might be a route here. You Gideon and you make a token, and Thompson kills your token, but then Gideon's only knocked down to 2. You want to tap to make another token, start casting some stuff in your hand, maybe you can get a board going.
So there's the Ally Zendikar. I'm going to bring a Night Ally along with it. Thompson will take a draw step. Picked up another copy of Wooded Foothills. There is the Foothills. He'll sacrifice that. Canopy Vista, the weapon of choice here for Thompson. Gallagher kind of at the mercy of what Thompson can do this turn, hoping to untap there with Gideon, that's for sure. We know there's a murderous cut over there in Gerry Thompson's hand. I believe there's also a copy of Colagon's command. And there is cut. Grandmaster going to bring Gideon down to 2. And now there is K command. Going to deal 2 that way. And I think make Gallagher discard a card.
It seems like a pretty big expenditure of resources here from Thompson, but the last card in his hand is Den Protector. With Den Protector, he gets back a removal spell. If Soulfire Grandmaster stays in play, he can start setting up Colagon's command, Fiery Impulse, Murderous Cut, whatever.
Get to do all this stuff again.
Yeah. But you can see Gideon at least force some sort of action there from Thompson. The rest of the creatures in Gallagher's hand are worth very little right now, but Gideon forced Thompson to at least use some cards.
Duress was the draw. Duress will be the play. Den Protector is the reveal. And for Paul, that's a miss, and that's a big miss, because he also just can't play anything else this turn.
Yep. I mean, he did that in lieu of making a token with Master of the Unseen. And I understand why. Thompson's play last turn suggested that the last card in his hand was another removal spell, which it was. It just happens to be Den Protector and not an actual spell.
Yep.
So I think it's a reasonable gamble there from Gallagher, but this is the worst case scenario.
It's an attack here for 2 with the Soulfire Grandmaster. Thompson going to push his life total up. He'll fall a little bit lower thanks to this fetch, down to 28. We might see him unmorph right now. He's in a great spot here with only 3 minutes left to play, though. For Paul, it was another copy of Chief of the Edge. Looks like he's going to go with Mardu Strike Leader here. It's going to be dashed. Now here's the attack. Damage will come across, it appears, because this doesn't really change much. It's still just 1 creature at a time.
Exactly. And Thompson can now comfortably rebuy, I would guess, the Colagon's command. And now he's got this set up. It's going to be hard to beat.
Yeah, push the button there on the Grandmaster. Recast the command. Kill that. Make it discard, perhaps. Yep. Now come across for some damage. And as you said it. This is hard.
Yep.
This just might be too much for Paul Gallagher to overcome. Didn't get a great look at the draw. I think it may have been a murderous cut. And it was.
Well, now the problem is both creatures in play need to get killed. Soulfire Grandmaster is a huge priority to get off the table right now, and Den Protector is also hard for Gallagher's deck to block.
Here comes the cut. Gonna take care of the Grandmaster. He'll have to delve away a couple of cards from his graveyard, depending on how he pays for it. And it looks like it's only going to be 1 that he delves away. That'll be his entire turn.
Yeah, Gallagher was looking for some way to be able to cast 2 spells that turn, but with only 1 black mana in play, he can't do it.
So that'll be his turn. We'll be heading back Thompson's way here in just a moment. Colagon's command in hand here for Gerry. Draw a card. In with the Den Protector. Gallagher going to fall down to 4. Might just cast command right now.
Yeah, I like knocking Gallagher down to 2, get back your creature. You've got 2 lethal threats in play.
He's shown that he's had so much difficulty playing 2 threats of his own.
Right.
Because his mana's messing with him so much. And also, one of these threats that you have in Den Protector, very tough to block.
Yep. So he needs to come up with 2 cards this turn and 2 pretty specific cards, and that only lets him play on.
Well, Polluted Delta was the draw. That's another source of black mana. And we could have double Chief of the Edge this turn.
Yeah, that's on the table stabilizes things.
Yeah, that does let him play on. Gonna have to fall down to 1 to do it, but that lets him play on. Now we'll see how he wants to search up a black source of mana. You know, if he could get a Sunken Hollow, Basic Swamp, what have you. We'll see which black source he wants to get. There's a Sunken Hollow. He's almost left with no choice here.
Yeah.
And so now, as we are in turns, Paul's turn 0. That means Thompson will be turns 1, 3, and 5. Paul will have 0, 2, and 4. Obviously, strike leader's not going to get him very far, so it seems like his hand is basically forced here.
Yep. This is pretty straightforward stuff.
I'll pass the turn back over to Gerry. Turn 1 of extra turns. Thompson will draw. That's an utter end, I believe.
Yeah.
And that makes it very easy. And he can even do it twice with Soulfire Grandmaster. That is going to do it. Gerry Thompson's going to win this match over Paul Gallagher. 2-1. Abzan Red will take care of Black White Warriors. And for Thompson, who is very confident about this deck, given our conversations with him this morning, he's 4-0.
And you can see the deck gets to play early on in the game with Soulfire Grandmaster and Fire Impulse and cards like that. Later on in the game, there's a lot of those cards still punch above their weight when the game goes on for a long time.